Well, 2024 was a year where artificial intelligence really became a visible presence in the commercial landscape in Canada, and we've already seen it beginning to transform businesses and even sectors. Sam Sebastian is the country manager for Google Cloud Canada, and he's been watching this closely. Joins us live here on CP24 Breakfast this morning with some insights into what 2025 could bring. Sam, I feel like last year the story we talked about the most was certainly artificial intelligence and AI. So how big of a year is 2025 going to be when it comes to AI in this country?
Well, like you said, 2020, first off, thanks for having me. Happy New Year. 2024 was a big year. With a lot of the customers we work with, we saw folks moving from testing and pilots to full-scale production. But most of the focus was on back-end processing, efficiencies, how to do more with less. I think going forward in 2025, we're going to see more customer-facing AI products where a consumer who's working with a particular customer online or offline will get a chance to see more products that are leveraging generative AI and be able to interact with them much more as opposed to a lot of the back end. Secondly, I think you're going to see a lot more of the chatbots, what we call agents, connecting more with other parts of the business. So instead of just being a customer service chatbot, you'll be able to book a flight. You'll be able to interact with a bunch of the other systems that are powering workflow processes behind the scenes. And then lastly, we'll see there's a really good startup ecosystem here certainly in Toronto and Kitchener-Waterloo, but across all of Canada. And more startups are really starting to leverage generative AI, especially for new product development. And I think you'll see startups begin to scale even faster, leveraging a lot of these tools.
Sam, as this is happening, as the consumer who's the ultimate user of this, are we going to know that we're interacting with AI? How seamless or how is it going to look to us?
I think it'll be pretty frictionless and seamless. So for example, you've been interacting with AI and generative AI when you've been working with Google as a consumer for years, whether it's driving directions or helping you finish your email, et cetera. But more and more often, especially with productivity tools, et cetera, you're going to get a chance to interact with a lot of this technology in a way that just makes your daily life a bit easier. So for example, we commissioned a report last year to understand the impact of generative AI on the economy. We think it could boost the economy by upwards of $230 billion over the next few years. But more importantly, we think it can save the average Canadian worker 175 hours per year. So that's what I mean. You'll be interacting with these things very seamlessly. You won't necessarily notice them, but they'll make your life easier.
And so, Sam, you use the word worker and saving 175 hours a year. I think a lot of workers might hear that and think that's going to threaten my job if somehow they can, sort of make so much more efficiencies here that they won't really need as many of me or me in particular. What do you say to the workers who are worried about AI taking jobs?
I think you need to lean in to understand and learn how to leverage generative AI in your day-to-day work. For example, and I'm sure you're no different, we're expected to do so much more with so little time. Mm-hmm. And if you can leverage these tools, you can actually get more done and be as productive as possible. And that's where I think we'll see most of the impact. So folks necessarily won't maybe not lose their job to AI, but you may be threatened by another worker who knows how to use AI even more. So our recommendation is lean in, maybe do some training, but more importantly, your organization most likely is using some of these productivity tools, engage with them, embrace them, and learn how to use the new tools of technology.
Yeah, be the more productive and sort of employee, so you're more valuable to your company, I suppose. Sam Sebastian
100%.
From Google Cloud Canada, really appreciate this. Thanks for this conversation. It'll be an interesting year to watch what happens with AI. Appreciate this.
Thanks for having me.